The dream to stream and kill Blu-rays and DVDs might be turning into a nightmare for Hollywood. Big agencies are now declaring there's no way to fix this problem, and entertainment could be at the precipice of losing total control to the new media. It's a great day. It's a groovy day. Thank you for coming our way, folks. We're ready to dive into the latest news out of Hollyweird, giving you a PhD level of understanding into what's happening, and no tuition is required. Click that like button, and here we go. Streaming is not going well for Hollyweird. Let's talk about it right now. From Mac at Now It's Known, one of the greatest sources of info out there on the web. If you're not following Mac, well, you should be. Hollywood's breaking itself trying to fix streaming. Quote, ad-supported video revenues aren't expected to meaningfully offset consumer spending declines in the near term, which spells trouble for Hollywood. Folks, you can see down here this chart going back to 2019 until now in 2026, and you can see the decline in home video. You can see that the box office continues to be what it is. I wish we could go back beyond. If we could, you would see this actually about double where we are today. You can see virtual MVPDs, multi-channel video programming distributors, and subscription video on demand. What do we see here, folks? We see that the ways Hollywood used to make money with derivative and redundancies, AKA you went to the movies, then you went and got it on Blu-ray, then you went and got it again for the special edition. All of that's gone, and none of it is making up for the loss of those systems of pay. If we go to Nielsen right now, I want to show this to you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a problem here, and we haven't been talking about Nielsen enough lately. If you look at the top 10 streaming shows, Bridgerton is way out of the lead. Hip hip hooray for Bridgerton and for Netflix. And then after that, you got The Night Agent. And I don't know anybody out there. I have never been out and about and somebody come up to me and say, hey, have you seen The Night Agent? Have you been watching that Night Agent? Nobody's talking about this. And then it's just stuff. It's just stuff. There's nothing capturing the attention of audiences right now in streaming. I mean, I guess people love Bluey, right? Bluey's down there. If we go to originals, take a look at the originals right now. Bridgerton, The Night Agent, The Pit, Love is Blind, Paradise, The Traitors. There's Lincoln Lawyer. Veronica Mars, Stranger Things, Cross. If we go to acquired, what do we got? Big Bang Theory, Bluey, Grey's Anatomy, SpongeBob SquarePants, stuff that you've known for decades, right? And if we go to movies, well, take a look at this. Jurassic World Rebirth is blowing away everything else, and everything else is tepid at best. K-pop Demon Hunters is still number 5, and who knows, what are we at, like almost a year now? The Addams Family is number 6. Guys, there's a problem. Streaming is sick now. There's nothing that really is exciting audiences. I think that Stranger Things and just how badly that came off, we haven't had anything since then that's been, worthy of talking about. And I feel, we talk about Disney Plus, we talk about Hulu, but it's across the board. We're losing things to excite us and pull us together as a culture, at least in streaming, to say, oh boy, I can't wait to see this. Are you going to see it too? No, there's nothing like that anymore. It's just bleh. I'm tired of bleh and meh.
Can I add something else?
Please.
Price increases, especially with Netflix, is not going to help the situation. This is the second time in a year that Netflix is ramping up their price. And if you don't agree to the price, in their most recent message within a given period of time by April something or another, maybe it's the 17th, they will just basically cancel your account for you. So there are price increases that are coming with all the streaming services to offset the fact that nobody's watching them. That's the worst way to do business. And I think that's going to hurt them even more, Pro.
It could. Wiz, when we look at this, the box office is so tiny now compared to all things streaming. And yet there's really nothing on streaming that people are saying, oh, we got to go. I mean, years ago, we were talking about Mandalorian season 1 and 2. Years ago, we were talking about Stranger Things. Years ago, we were talking about Squid Game. I don't know. One Piece, I guess, is the closest thing that's got people excited. But outside of that, what is there right now, Wiz? What is happening in Hollywood where it's not just the box office that's dying? We're not making stuff that excites people anymore.
I think that's why there's been such a big explosive talk about something like the upcoming Harry Potter show, There is nothing out there. It is Harry Potter is the last fandom standing. Everything else is gone. And One Piece came and went because it was a binge show. So within 2 weeks, everybody's watched it and it's gone.
Right. That's
One Piece was a show. One Piece was a show where each episode was a movie. It was finally a Netflix property that it wasn't a mystery box. It wasn't a one story spread out over 8 miserable episodes. You could have had One Piece week after week after week. We'd still be talking about it. It wasn't that long ago. We would be excited. At this point, we'd be up to like with the Giants, and we would be talking about, hey, this is a really good episode. Finally. But they squandered it. They squandered it because I think they didn't have faith in what they had, and now they realize how big it was. I wouldn't be surprised if they make changes on future seasons. But this is Hollywood doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know who the audience is. They keep insulting the audience every time the audience says, hey, you're supposed to be making stuff for us because we're the ones paying you. And it's not going to get better. We're not on the trajectory of things getting better yet. There needs to be, and this is a little extreme, there needs to be a little more pain. Hollywood needs to feel the pinch a little bit more, and they're not there yet.
They're close to extinction, so they might feel some pain. Lauren, if we go right now to Nielsen, and let me see if I can zoom in on this. I want everybody to be able to see. Nielsen is way behind right now. I don't know what's going on with them. They're still in January of 26 on this number. We should have February by now.
But you saw the excuse why, Pro, didn't you?
Is it because they're updating that new system where they have all the
because they knew they were going to freak out everybody that uses their system because the numbers were going to look off.
Oh yeah, they did that to prop up the Super Bowl and a few other things. Okay,
the artificial gains. Yeah,
right. And so if you apply that across the spectrum, it's more viewership than is possible. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, and that's my opinion, Nielsen. I'm not trying to say that as objective fact, so you take it as you will. But if we look here, January, we have to go back to January, and just know that Disney has a very big advantage in January when it comes to sports. So set that for a moment. YouTube, even in one of the most advantageous months for streaming for Disney possible. This is not Disney Plus. This is not, this is not what's on Netflix. This is literally who made the thing that's on the TV. So if it's a Disney thing and it's on YouTube, it gets counted for Disney. If it's a Netflix show, but you're watching it, somehow on some other platform, it goes to Netflix. That's the way this one works for this gauge. And when we look at this gauge, YouTube content creators, that's indies. That's everybody across America. The independent content creators now are bigger than any other studio out there. And that, I think, speaks volumes to the new media takeover. And Hollywood simply can't connect anymore. Wiz is right. They've destroyed every single franchise. And Lauren, what was the defense they put out there? They told us toxic fandoms. Then they told us superhero fatigue, Star Wars fatigue, Disney fatigue, animation fatigue. And now here we are. They're on the brink of losing everything. And YouTube is, when we get the next numbers, YouTube's going to be crazy high.
They're not wrong about the fatigue thing if what they mean is that we're sick of their crap. That I think is a valid point. But YouTube has the clear advantage because, one, anybody can be a content creator. And when you consider the number of kids that are out there that just put it on in the background and it continues to play in the background all day long, cycling to the next video, that also gives them an inherent advantage. And I think people are just tuning out all of this stuff that they've been pushing for so long. Nobody cares about what the studios are putting out because they don't either they're deliberately subverting what their property's message was to put out their counter message, or they simply don't understand the properties that they own. Either way, it's going to turn off the audience. The audience is sick of it. I think that the only way that you get a real fix is start producing original content. They're going to have to start taking risks. They've got to abandon the idea that every film that comes out has to be a blockbuster tentpole. They've got to diversify a little bit. And honestly, they should probably start some smaller studios again that are for their experimental content that they don't put under their main label so that they can play around with different genres again.
Pro,
you
can
know.
can I go next, Pro?
Go.
Yeah, sorry, Culture.
Would you mind sharing my screen? Because Lauren just did the lead in to what I wanted to say. Okay. This is back in 1984. All right. My favorite year of movies, by the way. What do you notice on this list?
Look at this.
What do you notice on this list? Do you see a lot of there's Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. That was a sequel. All right. And then you got Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. That was a sequel. Everything else is an original movie.
Yeah.
I see the beginning of a whole bunch of
originals. And it's made by Hollywood. It's not an adaptation. Okay. It's not some reboot. We're rebooting something from years and years ago. That's Hollywood's problem. It's remakes, it's reboots, it's sequels, it's prequels, it's spin-offs. It's something that's connected to the past, to these giant franchises, these giant IPs, and current audiences, because you always got to remember, the biggest movie-going audience is 18 to 25. That's young people. Where are the young people at? They're watching anime. They're playing video games. They're doing everything but Hollywood because Hollywood has nothing for them. When we were coming up, when we were young kids, we had Ghostbusters. That was a brand new franchise. All right. Nobody ever seen it before. We had that. We had Gremlins. We had the Karate Kid. We had Police Academy. And think about this. These Karate Kid and Police Academy were big series that just started in 84. And they, Karate Kid just had a movie, I think, last year, and they had Cobra Kai. It was still a ongoing franchise. It just started that franchise. Beverly Hills Cop, same thing. They're not giving young audiences anything that belongs to them. They are giving them our stuff, okay? They're giving them our franchises, our old stuff, and nobody's showing up for it because it doesn't belong to them. Where are they going? They're going to anime. And that's what now Hollywood is like, oh, man, we better buy some anime. Look at One Piece. Oh, One Piece is great. Why? Because One Piece is different. It's new. It's not something that they've seen for the last 20 to 30 to 40 years. Unless you've been, locked into the anime. This is the problem right now when it comes to Hollywood. They are not making new things. And back when they were making new things, Hollywood was fine. Hollywood was doing great. Now the only thing they can do is, like even a Project Hail Mary, which is great and I love it, it's still an adaptation of a novel. Where's the creativity in Hollywood to create Ghostbusters? Where's the guys creating Gremlins? Where's the guys creating stuff like that? Police Academy, the Karate Kid.
They ran them out. They ran them out, Derek. This has been an ongoing thing. They run out all the people with the understanding of how to tell stories. All the storytellers are gone. Bob Iger is for Disney is ultimately responsible for the lack of storytelling ability there, and everybody at every other studio ran off their storytellers. You're 100% right. We had it way better. But here's the other thing, and this is a direct
look, I'm just going to, while you keep talking, I just want to scroll to the current list of top movies and tell me how many of these movies are
you beat me to it. What I was going to say.
They're all spin-offs, prequels, reboots. That's what Hollywood is giving us now, and that's why young audiences don't want to show up.
Go back to, you were in 1984, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go back to 1984 real quick. There's an observation I want to make here that's really important. If we go back to 1984, the top 7, really top 8, but top 7 films, we're still watching these today.
Yeah.
And here's the observation about that. I bet, now I didn't know when I was going to make this observation before, I bet we're watching these top 7 more than we're watching the top 7 for 2023.
And that's the other problem with streaming. Do you know why people keep streaming? So they can watch Suits over and over and over again. So they can watch How I Met Your Mother over and over and over again. So they can watch Friends over and over and over again.
What's 85, Derek? Pull up 85 up for us. It's going to be, we're going to know all of these. And if we went back to the last few years, if we pulled up the top, whatever, you're going to look at it and say, I don't know what that is. Look at this. Back to the Future, Beverly Hills Cop, Rambo, Rocky, Cocoon, Witness, The Goonies. Oh my gosh, these are great. Number 11 is National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Classic. A classic.
Fletch. Mask, which was brilliant at the time. Remember that?
The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club.
It's 13.
I love Goonies. It's my favorite movie.
Hey, you guys. Hey, Lauren, get in here. You had something you wanted to weigh in about 5 minutes ago. And go ahead. What do you got?
I forgot.
No, you're not allowed to forget that.
That's why this old man has a notepad and a pen.
You got to get a notepad, Lauren. Getting up there,
whatever,
man.
whatever it wasn't that important.
That's not true.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's amazing to me that these movies from 40 years ago, we're still talking about them. We're still watching them.
Yeah.
And the stuff that Hollywood is putting out today, man, nobody
Bro, when
wants
they release these things on their 40-year anniversaries, the theaters are jammed.
They're jammed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
But they're not showing up for current stuff.
I remember what it was, and I remember why I forgot it, and it's because you guys basically made the point that I was going to make, which is you're saying that the creators were run off. I was just going to put it a slightly different way. There are cycles in Hollywood where you have studios really controlling how the movies are made, and then you have the auteurs that come in and they revolutionize what happens. And we're in a period now where it's the studio controlling everything and making it by committee again. And so what we need is a new generation of auteurs to come in and make successful stuff.
But you won't, because you have the homogenization at the film school level. USC, if you go to film school at USC now, as opposed to way back in the day, I'm not even going to give away how long ago it's been. But if you were to go to film school at USC right now, you would be homogenized corporate crap that pushes messaging. That's what you'd be subjected to. You wouldn't even get a proper history of film class in your pursuit of becoming a filmmaker.
Right, but when these auteurs come in, though, it's not like they're asking for permission.
George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola. And we can go down this list of incredible people, and many of them are gone now, unfortunately. But that only happens like once a generation. There hasn't been a transition because Hollywood has kept those old people in power, just like the same in politics, in Congress, and other places. These people are out of ideas. They gave you bad ideas, and now they're recycling them into our world. Hey, let's give communism another try. Well, that's the 60s and 70s all over again. No, thank you. And it's just like, I don't want any of this stuff regurgitated. I want what you want, Lauren.
You missed an opportunity to say postmodern neo-Marxism.
Except the bell's not here. I can't ever say that if the bell's not here.
What you're saying is we need another Dennis Hopper, Easy Rider. We need that again.
Boom.
That's what we're looking for. They need those guys. We need to find the next, auteur. That's going to shake up the entire industry. And it's going to come from independent film. I just don't know who it's going to come from. But yeah.
Well, they tried to pretend it was the tool bag that put the decal.
I have a button, and I just used it.
Go ahead.
The point I'm trying to make is that those auteurs who come in, they don't ask permission. They just start making movies. And eventually that's what's going to happen. You have people training themselves to do that right now. That's why Pro gets excited about the AI stuff. And I think that there's a point that gets missed about that, which is that I hear, for instance, Lou saying that the thing that he hates about the AI stuff is that everybody is making stuff with established IPs that they don't own. It's a rehash, it's a retread, and that's true. But what people are doing when they're doing that is they're training themselves how to use the tools, what works, what doesn't, how to set up a shot composition, how pacing works, all of that stuff. They're teaching themselves the technique of filmmaking independently. And when they get those skills under their belt and they start telling their own independent stories, that's when Hollywood's really going to have something to worry about.
Yeah, I agree.
Well said. Folks, it's time to bid you adieu, but we hope that you will help us anew, and that is, we're only asking you click that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. And oh, by the way, have you gone the way of thatparkplace.com? www.thatparkplace.com. It's the website that if you're not yet bookmarked to, well, you should be. A bastion of truth and knowledge when it comes to entertainment and everything that's going on. Go check it out today, folks. We would love to have you over there as well. All right, we are getting ready to head out, but do not fret, for we will put out 4 more videos tomorrow, so long as the good Lord allows. And we believe that probably, just might, happen. All right, until the next time we get to share time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.